goes to the World AIDS Museum's program, which is a local brick and mortar museum in Wilton Manors. That's kind of our bigger team that represents, that I walked with. And they teach the history and story of AIDS and HIV from its beginning to modern day and what's taking place. So it's the only place in the world that is keeping that story of consideration and truth alive and trying to explain it to the current generations who really didn't grow up with it. We got a lot of young people today that don't understand what it's all about. But a lot of us went through it. I lost a bunch of friends. I cared as a nurse for people that I thought would infect me and I would die from them. But I decided in those moments that my dream was to become a nurse, and that was bigger than this body. And that was before I was a metaphysician. That's crazy. Why would some young man allow his body to be put at risk because my dream was bigger than I was? And that's kind of what I want to talk about today, which is about dreams. And I want to talk to you about the dreams because dreams are really an inspiring picture in our minds. And our dreams, they energize our mind, don't they? When you've got a dream of something you want to do, you feel energized. Miss Jerry, her dream was a food pantry in honor of her great-grandmother, Miss Gamble. And her dream is bigger than she is, and so she figured out all the ways to create a nonprofit. Then she figured out the way how to incorporate and how to create 501c3. Who does that? Miss Jerry did, because her dream was bigger than she was. And so then the Metaphysical Chapel stepped in, and we provided a foundation for her to allow her dream to exist in this community of metaphysicians. She used, and this is a funny word, used, but she used us in a good way. She used us to be a foundation, of a rock to build her foundation upon. And so once a month, twice a month, sometimes more than that, we bring bags of groceries, we bring non-perishables, we bring gift cards for Miss Jerry's Pantry, and that goes to support the people of Fort Lauderdale who are struggling to feed themselves. Really, we have so many people below the poverty line. That was her dream, bigger than herself. So who has a big dream to achieve in life? I have a few. If you guys know me, I've got a few. Now, who doesn't know what their dream is? And that's okay. That's okay. I love you guys. It's okay. You know what? It's common. Most people don't know their dreams, quite honestly. I'm surprised as many of you raised your hands for those of you who have dreams, because a lot of people don't know what their dreams are. Because they haven't taken the time to go within. You know, every Sunday I make it a point. I told Tim we have to keep meditation in. I told him this years ago. I said it's so important. If we don't sit in our own spirit, in our own life, and we don't know who we are or what we're about energetically, how can we live this life purposefully? How can we achieve our dreams? And that's why every Sunday I make it a point to do the meditation or to ask somebody to do the meditation so that if you're not meditating all week, at least you get 5 minutes at the Metaphysical Chapel. I've done my job. And that's why it's so important. Prophets and yogis and seers and oracles and healers and channels and mystics, they don't become those things without meditation. You have to meditate. That's what unlocks that frequency of who we are, which is a greater expression of spirit. So important. Dreams, going back to that concept of dreams, they're very elusive. They're very ethereal. They're hard to grasp. They're hard to put boundaries upon because they're so big. They're bigger than ourselves. They're hard to identify. They're hard to reach because a lot of times, think about this. Who in here has cooked crabs? That's awful to say, isn't it? You know, those cute little things. But when you do a crab boil, what happens? When one tries to climb out, another one pulls it down because it's trying to get over them. It's trying to get out of there. They're trying to get out of the pot. They want to go do their thing. And so they're always pulling each other down, and that's what happens in life. When I go to work, I hear people pulling each other down when they talk about their dreams. I remember years ago I went to France and I heard this young man on the street talking about his dreams. And all of his friends around him said, "What are you, an American?" And I thought, that's interesting. All these French, these Parisians were pulling this young man's dreams down and trying to diminish his light and mocking him and calling him an American. But if you think about it, Americans do have a dream. The land of freedom, the land of opportunity. We have dreams in America. Sadly, most Americans have forgotten that. The foreigners have not forgotten that. They come here for the land of dreams. But isn't that interesting? Just like that young man in Paris and the crabs, they're all being pulled down. So sometimes people do that to us. Maybe we lack confidence to pursue our dreams. Maybe past experiences will hold you back. Things, challenges that you couldn't overcome, and you just thought, well, that dream didn't come to fruition. If I had thought that, I wouldn't be standing here today. Because I had a dream.